Hi, I'm Joey Jenkins from the NC State University Libraries.
And I'm Everett Allen from the North Carolina State University Office of Information Technology. We're here to talk with you today about what we've done over the past year and a half at NC State University in providing device lending for all university students, staff, and faculty through the NC State University Libraries Lending Program. Last year at JNUC, we gave our lending plan for remote management for the pandemic. As NC State emerges from the pandemic, this year we will discuss a review of a year like no other and the actions taken to secure, provision, and provide remote learning devices to university students, faculty, and staff. We will talk about maintaining control of inventory for off-site deployments with Jamf Pro's API and Google Suite offerings. Lessons learned from a year and a half of fully remote workforce in pedagogy, and talk about how we are taking those lessons forward into the future with an automation-first mindset.
It has been more than a year now since the pandemic upended all of our lives. Looking back at the rapid changes we were forced to make to adapt our processes makes it seem so far away. But it wasn't that long ago when we were doing device deployments the same way as we always have. Even with the introduction of Jamf's suite of tools to help us automate things, we just didn't do it because we were right there to help things through deployment when something didn't go as planned. We talked a good game about zero touch, but it was really light touch at best. When it was announced that we would be moving to all remote learning, we had 72 hours to go from a theory of zero touch to reality. That was where Jamf came to our rescue so we could come to the rescue for the rest of campus. In 72 hours, we changed our convenience offering of device lending into a hands-off, remote, and automated deployment operation to support the university's 34,000 plus user base as needed. But that wasn't the end. Once the students were sent home, so were staff and faculty. And this also affected the library's information technology teams leading the charge for automation and remote work. What once was a close-knit, wholly on-site team was reduced to a minimal 2-person on-site team to handle device preps, and everyone else was suddenly scattered and supporting remote staff.
Coordination was now becoming key to our success. We needed to meet broader needs and make a larger set of software available than the previous core offerings. There were some packages that we had licensed for only use while on the campus network, so we had to find new ways to use VPN or move to different license servers. Some of these license servers were controlled by other departments with limited resources, so we had to help strengthen those deployments as well. Addressing the whole need had grown beyond simple configuration management, software provisioning, and patching.
As software sets expanded, so did the need to track everything. We heard these questions from bookkeepers, deans, and lab managers, as well as the usual licensing agents. We would have to expand reporting. And of course, everyone wanted it spoon-fed to them on demand in a single web page. We were already spread thin, and our managers did not want us to spend too much time on it, as long as it met a mile-long list of requirements and could show everything in one place. But we realized Jamf already does reporting. When we made the grievous error of asking for project requirements, using the libraries as the pilot for this effort, We found we got more than expected buy-in, but management wanted all the things. It is a testament to Jamf's functionality that we heard something we normally hear in reverse. Those of us in Apple device support are used to the old adage, "Can you make the Macs work like Windows?" Cue eye roll emoji in chat if you've ever heard that. Thanks to our zero-touch deployments through Jamf, and with our inventory reporting working flawlessly in Jamf Pro, we got the question, can you make it work like Jamf? Cue mad laughter followed by ugly crying. Then to add insult to injury, the boss says, "Oh, by the way, we don't have any budget for this. Where's that Christian Bale axe meme when I need it?" Given that our Windows infrastructure was also pulling multiple report sources out of SCCM and PowerShell scripts, then storing that information in a log server, we took a serious look at the question, along with exploring some skunkworks projects we'd been toying around with during remote work sessions. And then, one day, the solution fell into our laps. The libraries had an existing inventory system, but everything about it was manual data entry, from purchase date, user assignments, locations, to software stack assignments, storage locations, and even device names. All of that information was manually entered, even though all of it was being automatically collected by Jamf for the Apple environment and SCCM, Active Directory, PowerShell scripts reporting for Windows. So with the library's IT now fully engaged with laptop purchasing, prepping, and shipping to, well, everywhere, we were close to losing precious time to double entering data in an outdated, unneeded, and all too often incorrect manual data entry process. That's when a virtual lunch conversation led to the experimentation and eventual adoption of Google Cloud services granted to us as a Google campus. All of a sudden, a whole new world opened up for taking information directly out of Jamf Pro's powerful API and pulling that into a Google Cloud bucket with a Google Cloud function that was then converted into a data source for Google Data Studio. This suddenly gave us a path toward true data analytics we could rely upon for being as correct as Jamf Pro. Of course, there is always just one more question from the boss.
Then suddenly, in the middle of expanding our reporting needs, we found ourselves expanding our patching needs as well. Critical software like Zoom evolved at a ridiculous frequency. Adobe products collected more than the usual flock of security updates, many critical. What is to be done? We thought maybe the same kind of cloud technology we were starting to use for reporting could help us update too. So we started thinking about what we did. Self-service is a huge success. Patch titles are working for the most part. And our auto packager is finally uploading. These are good, but we were missing the when we should connect the titles with the packages. Getting email from our cloud instance was not enough. We wanted modern ways of notification, like Slack and Google Chat's Hangout. That's when we realized that the same Google Cloud functions could do more than just ingest CSV files. They could be triggered by HTTP requests. In other words, a webhook. So hold the phone, Jamf Pro supports webhooks. Yep, we have a Jamf Pro post a URL every time a patch title gets an update. From this, Cloud Patch Notifies are born. Google Cloud functions that simply parse the patch title name and date version from the JSON, add the date and time, and pass on a notification to the service like Slack and Google Chat using what? Yep, another webhook. Any cloud function should be lightweight and simple. We wrote ours in Python since there were many examples to steal, follow. It turns out that we didn't have to write big old fat monolithic scripts either. Instead, we can use modern vehicles like PubSub to create reusable functions. For example, our initial function is a webhook receiver that parses title and version, adds date and time, and then publishes a simple PubSub message. After that, two notifier functions subscribe to the message and pass through to Slack and Google Hangouts chat. This is similar to some post processors you may have seen in AutoPackage, except without dependence on Apple hardware and local server ops duties. Even further, we can manually fire crafted webhooks for software that do not yet have a patch title. If you think about this modular approach, there are many tasks that could be done. Looking for a way to get rid of that Mac Mini server running AutoPackager? Well, bad news is not yet. But how about if you're looking to back up your cloud store of packages to a Google bucket? You can do that with a function. How about reporting on packages that were uploaded this week into a shared Google Sheet? Or how about a nice report showing the latest software versions available on the JCDS in Google Data Studio? We even started thinking about what we might be able to do for the automation of software usage reports.
So, knowing what's possible and how far we've come since the start of the pandemic, where are we now? Our first return to full operational status semester is well underway, but we're still seeing a strong desire for hybrid and remote work/learning. That puts us in a similar position to likely several of you, where we're interested in the future of this technology, but we also have to move forward. What I'd like to do now is to show you where things stand for our pilot project on reporting from the management systems for the NC State University libraries, then talk a little bit about where we want to go from here. So as you can see here, I have my Apple inventory that's pulled up on my screen, and what is happening here is I have Jamf Pro's API pulling out a report of all different types of aspects that I wanted to pull on my devices. Down here in the main screen where I'm scrolling, you can see all of the device lists that I have. But if I wanted to say, let's bring this down a little bit. I want to search for libstaff so I can return all of my staff devices. And you can see here that I've got a list of all of my staff devices. But let's say I wanted to search for a specific user on these staff devices. Let's pick JMJinky3 that happens to be me. This returns a total of 7 devices assigned to this user. Now, since I'm supposed to have 1 device per user, something seems a little off with this user, so I might want to do some investigation of what's going on. But let's say I just wanted to search for a specific model. Let's search for all of my laptops. So I'm going to search for MacBook. And I see a list of all of my MacBooks. Staff devices seems to be, these are the most. And these are my 2015 model MacBook Airs. And I can see the last check-in of the devices as well as the PO dates. So by looking at the PO dates, then my manager has a quick view to see what might or might not need to be refreshed this year with the new budget year starting. But let's also take a look over on this other side. Let's take a look at Windows. Well, you notice that I've got the same type of look and feel. So that way my manager doesn't have to try to figure out what's the difference between a Jamf report and an SCCM report. Since I've got the same look and feel, I can do the same type of thing here, and I'm searching for libstaff. Same type of deal. Owner is, let's just pick this one. So I've got 3 devices assigned to this user. Maybe take a look and see what's going on there. Or if I wanted to search for specific models in my environment, Let's say I want to search for all of my optiplexes. And again, here I list all of my optiplex 5040s in my environment. Similar with the purchase date, and this can be exported into a report that my manager can now look at that and say, okay, it's time to take a look at what needs to be refreshed. This is what we've been able to do with our environment now, and we have a better feel for reporting as to what we actually have in use in our environment. So as we wobble our way into the fall semester, we continue to expand our cloud ecosystem to build better reporting on all levels across all systems. We want to find smarter ways to inform decision-making that will benefit all our campus community members. The need for attestation and security assurance will continue to drive us to find better automation for patching and inventory reporting. While our efforts to protect students, faculty, and staff may push us back towards remote learning again, the value of our built like Jamf cloud expansions will help us streamline our response to these chaotic times. Thank you all for attending our presentation. We hope it sparked some ideas for your reporting, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.